Now that we actually have an update button and we can actually go to an update page, now of course it doesn't save any changes, so we cannot update yet. But the actual view is ready. Now we just need to figure out how to get the actual knowledge or the logic into the system so it'll actually start updating an actual customer. Now we can use a lot of the logic we also used for the add component or the add customer. The only difference is that our customer service needs to call a new update function. Let's just get rid of this nonsense down here for now. So I'm going to make a new function in the customer service called update customer that can kind of update a customer. And it needs to pass in the value that we're getting from the form right now. So let's try and create this guy. Now the way I'll do it is I'll go down to the customer. Let me just try and show you another way of navigating right here. If you command click or control click the customer service, you'll actually first go to your constructor where the property or the parameter is, right? So the customer service parameter is right here. But if you go to the actual uppercase, which is the class right here, and you again control click or command click, you'll actually go to the actual service class right here. And there I need to now add a new function called update customer. Just like with the add customer, I'm sending in a customer in the parameter of the type customer like this. Now the reason we are explaining the type is we want to be type safe. We're working with TypeScript here, and later on we're even going to start returning type safe observables and in general type safe code. So we'll change this later on to be even stronger methods than what we have right now. But let's wait with that. So now we have a customer, we have an update function. Now here's one of the tricky things we need to figure out. How do we actually get the right customer from our customer array that we want to update? So the first step in JavaScript is to figure out how we can go to a customer array and find a specific customer. Now we already did that in the get customer by ID. So we can do the same thing. We can say this customer to get the array, and then we can do a find. There we go, and there we'll add just like the find down here, I'll add cust, and I'll say I need the customer.id to be the same as the customer ID from the outside, right? So notice I just switched these guys around here, but it's pretty much just to show you guys. Notice right here you have, first you have a find, and then you have a predicate called cust. Now that's just a reference to each customer, so I can kind of loop over each customer in this find, right? So for each customer, we'll try and do the validation of the if statement right after the arrow, right? And it doesn't matter if the customer ID is on the right or the left of this equal then. So it's really up to you what side you want to put it on. I just want to show you that. Sweet. So let's just look at the entire function right here. So now we have the customer we want to update. It might be null, so we'll have to figure that out later. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the index of this customer. So let's just use the function on the customer's array called index of, and then we can just pass in the actual customer to update. So now we'll get the index in the array. So maybe this customer is placed in index 0, which is the first index position, then index right here on line 31 would actually be 0, right? So let's have a look at the next thing. When I have the index, I can actually go now to this customer's, I can use the square brackets right here, and I can say index. Now that will actually point me to the specific position of the customer I want to update. And since I'm pretty much passing in the entire customer, I can just say equal to customer like this. And that would actually mean now I will override position. If I'm looking at customer 1 right here, which is Bill Bilson, I would actually override Bill Bilson with the updated customer that I'm passing in right here. Sweet. But there is a small problem right now, and that is I've not specified the ID right now of the customer nowhere inside my system. So if I run this right now, the customer will actually not have an ID, pretty much meaning for Bill, I would override the ID with 0. So I have to fix that as well. So let's try and check that out. I need to somehow on my customer add the actual ID, and I have to do that before I actually call the update in my case. So let's go back to the update component and make a few changes. So right now I need, before I actually do the update, I need to set the customer's ID, not this. No. It's only the customer. There we go. I'll say that ID to kind of find the customer ID. Now I need to set this before I actually do the update. But where do I get the ID? What we're going to do is we're going to make a local reference to the ID. So we're going to convert this const, which is only inside the ng init, and I'm going to move it outside by making it into a property inside the component instead. So let's just get rid of the const for now and move it into the property as a property right here, right below the form, or above it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. and it'll be some kind of number, right? I won't explain what the value is right now. I just explained that we are going to get an ID at some point, and it's going to be of the type number. So let's just set the ID right here, this.id. So now we have the ID available in the entire component, not only inside the ng on init. That's the difference between the const and the actual placing properties inside a class inside this framework right here. Now notice the customer here will only, the const customer on line 25 will only be available inside the ng on init, but the ID now is available in the entire class. That's very important to get an understanding about that. And that means that now I can actually set the ID all the way down here. Now I'm not quite done yet, because on line 25 I also need to kind of add the ID. So I'm just going to copy on line 24, copy that ID and paste it in here. There we go, because that was actually an error. So now everything should be running maybe. So let's just try and add a new guy here, build 2, and save, and go back. Oh, it's build 2 now, right? It works. Let's put in build_2, work 2, save, and go back. It works. And there you go, work 2 is also updated. Everything is updated. Oh my God, it's like magic. And we kind of just set up a great service right here. And let's just add, because we need to call a REST API. Now, right now, the logic of saving data is actually inside Angular right now. So I made a kind of a local database right now. We don't want that. So later we are going to save this inside a REST API instead, so we don't only have an in-memory database. But it's fine for now. Let's just add it down here as well, because I also need to change that. Perfect. I think that's it for this lesson. So let's just end it right here and say, good job everybody if you got to this point. Now you actually have almost full CRUD. We only need the delete function. See you next time. Have fun.